parents of 2020, the struggle. Yeah, as you know very well that we are going through a challenging moment where you can't access your teachers live in the class, and therefore we as the foreign publishers, we came up with this program of conducting lessons online. So I want you to tune into SST, and I'll be taking you through our topic in second term called foreign influence in Africa. Foreign influence in Africa. Yeah, first of all, what do we mean by foreign influence? Foreign influence means the changes that were brought to Africa by foreigners who came from Europe, and Asia. We have foreigners who came from Europe and Asia. Those who came from Europe are called the Europeans, and those who came from Asia are the ones that we call Asians. Now, what were those things that were brought by those Europeans and Asians? We can say that changes that were brought by foreigners. Africa. What changes were brought by foreigners who came to Africa? You can say that one, you remember, some of these Europeans were Christian missionaries, others were Muslims, and we had those ones who were explorers. And the changes were Christianity was introduced. Christianity religion was introduced. We also have another change that was not there but was brought by the foreigners, and that was the Islamic religion. Islamic religion. Which brought that religion? Those were the Arabs. Then we realized that there are some crops that we have in Uganda and in Africa, but were brought by foreigners. So we can see that new crops were introduced to Africa by foreigners. We look at some of the crops like the cloves, rice, and many others. Those were introduced by foreigners. You realize that there are languages that we speak today in Africa, but they were not there by then until the Europeans came and the Arabs. Let us try to give an example of English language. Let us give French language, Arabic language. All those are foreign languages and were brought by foreigners. So we can say that some of the changes that were brought by foreigners are introduction of foreign languages. Foreign languages were introduced. Other changes that were brought were new methods of farming. Europeans taught Africans modern methods of farming, while others taught Africans practical skills. Africans were taught practical skills. Let us look at skills like carpentry, and all those were introduced by the foreigners. Look at a missionary called Alexander McKay. He taught for practical skills. Dr. Dave Livingstone taught people practical skills. Now, let us try to give examples of the groups of foreigners that came to Africa. The first group of foreigners to come to Africa was the Arabs. Arabs made the first journey to Africa as foreigners. They were followed by the explorers. We also had the Christian missionaries we had the colonialists or administrators, and then we had the settlers. Now, Arabs came from the continent called Asia. Where did the Arabs come from? The Arabs came from the continent called Asia, and from the country called Saudi Arabia. However, those ones also came from a place called Persia. Persia today is called Iraq. That's what we call Iraq today. Now, let us look at the Arabs as one of the beautiful foreigners who came to Africa. Why did the Arabs come to Africa? The reasons were around 3 or 4 major ones. The first one was that being that they were traders, the Arabs wanted to get new items of trade from Africa, or they wanted to get raw materials from Africa, and they also wanted to bring their items of trade to get market. So why were they coming to Africa? They were coming to carry out trade with the people of Africa. Another reason why the Arabs came to Africa was spreading Islam. You know, these were Muslims who were interested in spreading their religion, the rest of the world. And indeed, when they came, they started spreading their religion. So they had some challenges. And there are those who came to Africa to run away from religious persecutions. They had religious conflicts, and they never wanted to be killed in their homeland. So they had to come to Africa to seek refuge. They came to Africa to seek refuge. So if they ask you why the Arabs came to Africa, you can say the Arabs came to Africa to carry out trade. 2, the Arabs came to Africa to spread Islam and then to run away from religious persecutions. Now, when the Arabs came to Africa, they decided to settle at the East African coast. They decided to settle at the East African coast. Why did the Arabs choose to settle at the East African coast? 1, the East African coast was more peaceful than the interior. Remember, we had the hostile tribes in the interior of Africa and interior of East Africa as a region. So when they reached at the coast, they thought twice to stay there for the sake of saving themselves from the hostile tribes and man-eaters. Another reason was that transport was accessible. Transport was accessible across the Indian Ocean. It would be very easy for them to go back to their country through the Indian Ocean. Another reason why the Arabs settled at the East African coast was that the coast of East Africa had fresh water from the Indian Ocean. The coast of East Africa had fresh water from the Indian Ocean. Not only that, but also the coast of East Africa had favorable climate for growing cloves, and that's why the leading producer of cloves in the world is Zanzibar. It was the reason why the Arabs decided to settle at the coast and even introduced the growing of cloves and rice at the coast. Yeah, those are some of the reasons why the Arabs settled at the coast. Now, we have some challenges that the Arabs faced when they were trying to spread their religion, that's Islam. And that's why I realized that Islam did not spread widely in the East African region compared to Christianity. The reason was that when the Arabs came, they were more interested in carrying out trade, and did not even carry out only legitimate trade, the trade that involves buying and selling of real goods, but they also participated in buying and selling of human beings as slaves. So participating in slave trade made the people in East Africa to hate them. So why did Islam fail to spread widely in East Africa or Africa? The reasons are the Muslim missionaries or the Arabs participated in slave trade, which made the Africans to hate them. 2. When the Arabs were spreading Islam, were using Arabic language, and Arabic language was difficult to the Africans. So it was another factor that hindered the spread of Islam. It was very difficult for the Africans to speak Arabic language. Another reason why Islam did not spread widely was that for it to convert to Islam, you had to be circumcised. And that one made many men in Africa and East Africa as a region to fear. African men feared circumcision. African men feared circumcision. Now, let us look at some of the items of trade that were brought to Africa by the Arabs. We had items of trade like mirrors, items of trade like noses, items of trade like guns, carpets, curtains, and many others. But what items of trade were needed by the Arabs from Africa? The Arabs wanted to get gold, ivory, slaves, and many others. So those were some of the items of trade that were needed by the Arabs from Africa. To remember, how were they able to get those items of trade? They used a method called barter trade. Barter trade was the exchange of goods for goods and goods for services. Barter trade was the exchange of goods for goods and goods for services. But today, people have resorted to buying of goods using money, and that's what we call monetary trade. That's what we call monetary trade. So if they ask you, what is monetary trade? Monetary trade is the buying of goods using money as medium of exchange. Buying and selling of goods using money as medium of exchange. So candidates, I want you to continue reflecting on some of the contributions of the Arabs. Now, what form of money was used by the Arabs? The Arabs used the form of money called kawar shells. They used the form of money called kawar shells. So kawar shells were used as a medium of exchange. Kawar shells were used as a medium of exchange. Candace, I told you that when the Arabs came, they carried out slave trade. Let us also look at what we call slave trade. What is slave trade? Slave trade is the buying and selling of human beings. The trade that involved the buying and selling of human beings. Today we have modern slave trade, which is called the human trafficking. Human trafficking. This is where people export human beings to go and offer labor as a service in other countries, and they undergo a lot of torture. So, slave trade is the buying and selling of human beings as slaves. So the people who introduced the slave trade in Africa were the Arabs. Yeah, next time we are going to learn more about slave trade in our next lesson. Thank you very much. Continue subscribing our channel so that you can watch more videos about our lessons. I know you have been learning English with Teacher Victor. Now you have received the SST. You are going to learn science and mathematics. Thank you for listening to me. Bye.